Hannah Barron built her fame by doing something most people would never dare try, catching huge catfish with her bare hands. But as her audience grew into the millions, another side of her life became the subject of relentless online speculation. Some claims were based on real events. Others appear to have grown from internet gossip. And now, a new wave of videos claims Hannah has finally confirmed the rumors. But there's a problem. The evidence may not say what the headlines suggest. Before the rumors, there was a catfish. Hannah Barron did not become famous by following the usual influencer path. She became known for doing something that looked almost impossible, reaching into muddy Alabama waters and catching giant catfish with her bare hands. Her videos were raw, loud, and very different from polished social media content. Hunting, fishing, fitness, and outdoor life became the foundation of her online identity. Eventually, that unusual mix turned Hannah into a major internet personality. But there was a strange price to becoming famous. The more people watched Hannah, the less interested some viewers became in the fishing itself. They wanted to know about her. Who was she dating? Was she single? What was happening behind the scenes? And why did certain stories about her personal life keep appearing online? Some of those questions came from genuine curiosity. Others became rumors that were repeated so many times they started to sound like facts. And that is where this story gets complicated. A search for Hannah Barron today can quickly lead to videos claiming that she has finally confirmed the rumors. There are even recent videos using almost the exact same sensational idea in their titles. But a viral title is not proof. In fact, Hannah herself has had to deal with fake accounts and people pretending to be her online, something highlighted on social media in 2026. That creates a very different picture from the one suggested by dramatic headlines. Because when millions of people follow someone, even a small piece of gossip can become a massive story after being copied, reposted, and reshaped. And Hannah's unusual rise to fame made her especially easy to turn into a target for that kind of attention. She was young, outspoken, confident, and completely comfortable doing things most people would never attempt. But the same internet that made her famous could also create stories about her that she never intended to tell. So before we ask whether Hannah really confirmed anything, we need to go back to the beginning, because the rumors did not appear out of nowhere. They grew alongside her fame. And once people started looking beyond the catfish videos, the questions became much more personal. The bigger Hannah Barron became, the less people seemed satisfied with simply watching her fish. That is where the story started to change. Hannah's official site now presents her as an Alabama outdoor creator focused on noodling, hunting, and fishing, with millions of followers across major social platforms. Her unusual talent had already made her recognizable, but fame created something else. People began treating her private life as part of the entertainment. Suddenly, viewers wanted answers to questions that had nothing to do with catfish. Was she dating someone? Was she hiding something? Why did she look different in certain photos? Why had she made certain choices? And perhaps most importantly, which version of Hannah was actually real? The problem with questions like these is that social media rarely waits for evidence. One person makes a guess. Another person repeats it. A third person turns it into a video. Then someone else creates a dramatic thumbnail. After enough repetitions, the original guess can look like a confirmed story. Hannah has also had to deal with people pretending to be her online. Public pages connected to her name have warned about authenticity, while her own online presence has become large enough that impersonation and fake accounts can easily confuse viewers. That matters because a huge audience does not automatically mean a huge amount of reliable information. In fact, the opposite can happen. The more famous someone becomes, the more content gets created about them. Some of it comes directly from the person. Some comes from legitimate interviews. And some is simply recycled internet gossip. By 2026, Hannah was still very active publicly. Recent coverage described her as a 30-year-old outdoor influencer, while also reporting on her growing business ventures, including her Barron Country bikini line. Her official website also shows that her brand had expanded far beyond fishing videos. So the public image was changing. She was no longer just a woman grabbing catfish from muddy water. She was becoming a full entertainment and business brand. And that meant every new photo, every relationship rumor, and every unusual post could attract thousands of opinions. But there was one particular area of her life that kept generating the most speculation: her relationships. And once the internet began connecting old photos, social media posts, and assumptions about the people around her, the rumors became much harder to contain. The next question is whether those rumors had any solid foundation, or whether the internet simply created a story that Hannah never actually told. For Hannah Barron, one of the oldest rumors was not really a secret at all. It was her relationship history. Years before the latest internet speculation, Hannah openly discussed her relationship with Hunter Horton. In an interview with Hook and Barrel, she explained that they had met through Instagram after he recognized the background in one of her photos. She even said they had been together for years, and at the time, he had proposed to her. So there was never much mystery about whether Hannah had been in a serious relationship. But then things changed. Her relationship with Hunter ended, and the details of the breakup were never fully explained publicly. That silence created an opening for speculation, and the internet hates an unanswered question. When someone famous refuses to explain every part of a breakup, people often fill in the missing pieces themselves. One rumor becomes another. A missing photograph becomes proof. A deleted post becomes evidence. And suddenly, a private breakup becomes a story that thousands of strangers believe they understand. That appears to be part of what happened with Hannah. There are websites claiming different things about her current relationship status. Some describe her as single, while others have published claims about later relationships. The information is inconsistent, which is exactly why none of those claims should automatically be treated as confirmed fact. There is also a much more important clue hiding in plain sight. Hannah has previously spoken about receiving negative comments and attention online. In her Hook and Barrel interview, she said there were always people who disliked her, but she wanted to remain a positive example for women in the outdoors. That tells us something about how she approaches fame. She understands that people are watching, but she does not owe the internet every detail of her private life. And that distinction becomes critical when we reach the biggest rumor surrounding her today. Because the claim that Hannah has suddenly confirmed everything sounds dramatic. Yet, when you actually start looking for a direct statement from Hannah, the picture becomes much less certain. The question is no longer, what are people saying? The real question is much harder. What did Hannah herself actually say? And once we separate her own words from the stories created around them, the entire rumor begins to look very different. The most important discovery may be what Hannah didn't say. The internet is full of videos claiming that Hannah Barron has finally confirmed the rumors. One recent video even uses almost the exact same confirms the rumors framing as the title of this documentary. But when we look for a direct statement from Hannah herself, the evidence becomes much thinner, and that difference matters. Because there's a huge gap between Hannah saying something and someone making a video saying that Hannah said something. That gap is where internet rumors grow. A creator sees an old interview. Another creator finds a relationship post. Someone notices a change in a photograph. Then a dramatic thumbnail is made. Suddenly, a question becomes a claim. Then the claim becomes a headline. And after enough people repeat it, viewers may assume it must have been confirmed. Hannah's own public presence makes the situation even more interesting. Her Facebook page and other social accounts continue to show her as an active outdoor personality, while recent 2026 coverage focuses on her hunting, fishing, noodling, and growing business rather than confirming some major hidden scandal. There is also evidence that fake or misleading accounts using her identity have circulated online. That creates another problem. If people cannot always tell whether a post actually came from Hannah, how can they know whether a shocking statement is real? This is why the phrase, "she finally admitted it," should immediately make viewers slow down. What was the original source? Was it an interview, a verified account, a direct video, a court record, or simply another YouTube video, repeating another YouTube video? Those questions are not boring. They are the difference between a documentary and gossip. And Hannah's story shows just how quickly the line can disappear. She built her audience by being unusually open about her outdoor life. Fans saw her fishing, hunting, traveling, working out, and building her brand. But being open about your career does not mean giving millions of strangers access to every private part of your life. That boundary is easy to forget when someone becomes famous online. And now we reach the question at the center of this entire story. If Hannah really confirmed the rumors, where's the direct confirmation? Because the answer may completely change the story we've been told. And when we look closer at the actual public record, something surprising begins to emerge. Here is where the story takes an unexpected turn. After searching for a recent direct statement from Hannah Barron confirming the major rumors, there's a problem. There's no reliable evidence in the current public record that proves she made the sweeping confession suggested by these viral headlines. That does not mean every rumor about Hannah is false. It means something more important. We have to separate what Hannah has actually shared from what other people claim she shared. Hannah has openly discussed parts of her personal life in the past. Her relationship with Hunter Horton, for example, was not some secret invented by the internet. She talked about that relationship publicly, including their engagement, in an interview with Hook and Barron. But that is very different from confirming every later rumor attached to her name. And this distinction gets lost online. A headline can say, Hannah Barron finally admits the truth. A thumbnail can make the situation look even more dramatic. But neither one is a direct quote. Neither one is evidence. And the more recent searches surrounding the supposed 2026 confirmation do not produce a trustworthy interview, official statement, or verified post in which Hannah clearly confirms the scandal being suggested. The search results are instead dominated by unrelated pages and recycled online content. That leaves us with an uncomfortable possibility. The confirmation may be the story itself. In other words, people may be reporting that Hannah confirmed something without having a solid source showing that she actually did. This is especially important because Hannah's public identity is built around social media. Her audience is enormous, and that creates a powerful incentive for dramatic claims to spread. A normal post might get attention. A supposed secret confession can get thousands of clicks. And once one video performs well, other creators have a reason to repeat the same idea. Soon, viewers see 10 different videos making the same claim. It feels like 10 sources. But sometimes it is really just one unverified story copied 10 times. That is a trap. And it explains why the phrase, "the rumors are true," should not automatically convince us. The real evidence may be much less dramatic than the headline. Hannah has clearly faced intense public attention. She has publicly discussed her career, relationships, and life as an outdoors personality. But based on the evidence we can verify, there is no responsible reason to turn an unconfirmed rumor into a fact. And that changes the entire ending of this story. Because perhaps the disturbing revelation is not what Hannah confessed. Perhaps it is how easily the internet can make it appear that she confessed something she never actually confirmed. But there is still one final question. If the biggest rumor cannot be proven, why does it keep spreading? That answer tells us something much bigger about internet fame. It may explain why Hannah's name keeps appearing in sensational stories. Here is where the entire story needs to be reframed. The most recent public information about Hannah Barron does not show a major scandal confession. In fact, her own current public presence is focused heavily on a life that made her famous in the first place. Noodling, hunting, fishing, and building her outdoor brand. Her official website describes her as an Alabama outdoor creator and currently lists millions of followers across her social platforms. Recent 2026 coverage tells a similar story. In July, coverage of Hannah focused on her growing business, including her Barron Country bikini line, and described her as continuing to build her brand at age 30. That is a very different story from the dramatic claim that she has finally admitted to some terrible hidden secret. And this is where viewers need to be careful. A rumor can be repeated hundreds of times without becoming evidence. A YouTube title can say confirmed. A thumbnail can show a shocked face. A narrator can say, "She finally broke her silence." But unless there is a direct statement from Hannah, a verified interview, an official record, or another trustworthy source, the claim remains unverified. There is another clue that makes this even more important. Hannah's online identity has become large enough that fake or confusing accounts exist. Public account directories currently identify her main Instagram presence as at HannahBarron96, while other accounts using her name also appear online. That means viewers cannot safely assume that every post carrying her name actually came from her. And once misinformation begins circulating, it becomes almost impossible to tell where the original claim started. This does not mean Hannah has never faced criticism or uncomfortable rumors. She clearly has. Recent coverage even mentioned the trolling she has received because of her love of hunting, fishing, noodling, and bow fishing. But criticism is not the same thing as confirmation of a scandal. That distinction is the real hidden story here. Hannah built her career by putting a very public version of herself online. Millions of people watch her adventures, follow her business, and comment on her appearance and lifestyle. Yet there is still a private person behind that public image. And when the internet becomes convinced that it knows something she has never actually confirmed, the rumor can become more powerful than the truth. So perhaps the disturbing part is not that Hannah finally confessed. Perhaps the disturbing part is that people may believe she confessed simply because enough headlines told them she did. And that leaves one final question. Why do these rumors spread so easily in the first place? And what does Hannah's experience reveal about the price of becoming famous online? In the end, the biggest revelation is not a shocking confession. It is the difference between what we know and what we assume. Hannah Barron is still publicly active in 2026. Her official website presents her as an Alabama outdoor creator, with large audiences across YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It also shows that her content and business have continued growing. Recent coverage from July 2026 tells the same basic story. Hannah was still hunting, fishing, noodling, dealing with trolls, and building her own business. And there's an important detail hiding inside all of this. A recent YouTube search does contain videos using the phrase that Hannah confirms the rumors. But finding videos making that claim is not the same as finding Hannah herself confirming it. That distinction is everything. Because Hannah's story shows how internet fame can create a strange cycle. A creator shares part of their life. Fans become curious. Someone makes a guess. Another person turns the guess into a video. The video gets views. More people repeat it. Eventually, the rumor becomes so familiar that people stop asking where it came from. And that can be dangerous, not only for the person being discussed, but also for the audience. Because once we accept an unverified story as fact, every new photograph can look like proof. Every deleted post can look suspicious. Every silence can be interpreted as an admission, but silence is not confirmation, and speculation is not evidence. Hannah has clearly chosen to make much of her life public. Her outdoor adventures are public. Her businesses are public. Her social media presence is public. That does not mean every private question has a public answer. And perhaps that is the real lesson behind the rumors. The internet gives us the feeling that we know celebrities and influencers personally. We watch their videos, hear their voices, see their daily lives, and sometimes begin to feel like we are part of their world. But we are still seeing only what they choose to show. Everything else is a gap. And when there is a gap, the internet loves to fill it. So if a future headline says Hannah Barron has finally confessed, the smartest response is simple. Show me the source. Was it Hannah's verified account? Was it a full interview? Was it an official statement? Or is the confirmation simply another headline repeating the same rumor? That question can completely change how we understand a story. Because after looking at the available evidence, the most responsible conclusion is not that Hannah confirmed some terrible hidden scandal. It is that the claim itself remains unverified. And that may be the most disturbing part of all. Not what Hannah supposedly admitted, but how easily the internet can make millions of people believe that she did. So what do you think? Should creators be expected to address rumors about their private lives? Or should the internet simply leave unverified personal claims alone? Let me know in the comments below.